Hey guys, enter the stars. I always tell you guys this story, or I've told it before, about a guy I was friends with years ago who was collecting Social Security. He was getting somewhere about $2,000 a month. Anyway, one day he opened up the mail and he found a bill from Social Security for $80,000. Well, how did that happen? Well, he was allowed to make up to $500 a month through a job that he had. I won't say the job that he had, but that was the allowable amount of income that he was allowed to have and still keep his Social Security benefit. Well, what ended up happening was the employer accidentally overstated his income for several years that he was working there, and it was only over by a few $100s a month, or a year, I think it was. Anyway, long story short, the Social Security came back at him for the full amount of everything he made over those past 5 years, which amounted to $80,000. Now, needless to say, this guy was on some kind of like mental disability, and this really freaked him out. I mean, this could have been the end of him in terms of ending his own life if he saw this as some kind of insurmountable problem. Well, he ended up going back to his employer and saying, hey, look, you guys made a mistake. You got to submit an appeal and correct the amount of income that you said I got. He was able to do that, and it reversed it, and the bill went away. The reason why I tell this story is because nothing is free in life. And here we are, jobless benefits saved these people until the states wanted the money back. I couldn't believe this because this is kind of what we were talking about was going to happen, that all this money is being sent out. Who's paying for it? Aren't we the ones that complain, we on the right or the right leaning, that complain about all these people getting benefits that don't deserve it, or they come to the country? Well, and we say that that's unsustainable. Our economy cannot exist by giving out all this money. But yet, when it was our turn to get a check, everybody opened up their hands and wallets. And we're talking half to 3/4 of America. How is that sustainable? Well, now they are starting to ask for that money back. Unemployment payments that look like a lifetime may now, for many, become their ruin. Spamdemic unemployment assistance, a federal program that covers gig workers, part-time hires, seasonal workers, and others who do not qualify for traditional unemployment benefits, has kept millions afloat. Program established by Congress, blah, blah, blah. But in carrying out the hastily conceived program, states had overpaid hundreds of thousands of workers, often because of administrative errors. And now states are asking for that money back. Now, this doesn't mean that automatically, if you got a check, that you're going to have to be paying back pay. What this means is a lot of mistakes were made. And the thing with the government is they're very careful with their numbers. And if they make mistakes, they don't simply let you off the hook. They come back and back bill you. Apparently, all these notices were sent out, came out of the blue with instructions to repay thousands of or even tens of thousands of dollars. Those being billed already living on the edge are told that their benefits will be reduced to compensate for the errors, or that the state may even put a lien on their home, come after future wages, or withhold tax refunds. This is the problem with government. They have way too much power to put a lien on your home or come after your tax refunds. I know many people who don't even get tax refunds anymore because of whatever the government deems that they can get a lien on, whether it be unpaid school loans. This is what we're dealing with here. This is why we should have never, ever gotten to the point where we needed checks sent out. These are the unintended consequences of what has happened to our economy. And now that we see the very, very minute impact that this thing has on most people's daily lives, was it really worth it? I think not. The article continues. Many who collected payments are still out of a job and may have little prospect of getting one. Most had no idea that they were being overpaid. When somebody gets a bill like this, it completely terrifies them, said Michelle Evermore, senior policy analyst. Sometimes the letters themselves are in error, citing overpayments when benefits were correctly paid. Now, who's gonna help you out of this? Well, you'd have to go pay a lawyer to sift through all of this, right? It's presented other troubles as well, including widespread fraud schemes, challenges in processing. As a result, states only recently had enough resources to start sending out overpayment notices. In the meantime, people have been collecting and spending thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, and what they understood were legitimate benefits. Now, I heard from a source, and I won't say that source, that there are people actively scamming the system, doing multiple identities, receiving checks from people that aren't even alive anymore, and cashing these checks. And what did we think was going to happen when you send out trillions of dollars in money? Of course, there are going to be people waiting around to take advantage of this. Olive Stewart, 56, an immigrant from Jamaica, worked part-time as a sous chef at a cafeteria, earning $16 an hour. When the spamdemic hit, she was laid off. She applied for this assistance program, got $234 a week, but it wasn't quite enough to cover all her bills, so she had to dip into her savings. Then all of a sudden, she got a notice from Pennsylvania's unemployment insurance vendor that they had overpaid, and they sent her a bill for $8,000. To collect the debt, they began to withhold half of her unemployment payments, leaving her just $100 a week, and eventually they cut them off altogether, and now she can't pay her rent. So, this is the problem with all of this. Now, there were a lot of loans that went out to businesses. Remember that? Well, I can anticipate and almost bet, everyone was like, oh, you don't have to pay those back. It's a free-for-all. Everybody grab what you can. Well, I have a feeling that that's going to come back to bite them too. Because if they really cared about small businesses, they'd let them open without threatening their business license. So the article goes on. There's many more stories about what this is about. But this is unbelievable. They make a mistake and they're going to come back and bill you for it. Nothing's free in life, you guys. Nothing. Take care and be safe, everybody.